Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swing Good Torah. So the Nesivos Shalom on Parsha Matos, he says an incredible thing. And there's two main tests that we need to accomplish before the coming of Mashiach. And there's two areas where the Yetzer HaRah, where the evil impulse is really strong, in the Ikvita D'Mashiach, the footsteps of the Messiah, the footsteps of Mashiach. So here, I'll read what it says here. So if you want to read it, it's the Nesivos Shalom. It's on Parsha Matos. And he says, Ata Ikvita D'Mashiach. Now in the footsteps of the Mashiach, he says, Lifnei HaGeula, before the redemption, before the Geula, Iker his Gabrus HaYetzer. So the Yetzer HaRah is really strong in two areas, he's going to say here. He says, Hu bim yuchad b'shtei inyanim. Two areas where the Yetzer HaRah is very strong. Elu, and these are Bi'amuna, and we'll talk about it. Amuna, faith in Hashem, trust in Hashem. We'll talk about what this means. Uba Kedusha, and holiness. Shezeko hanisayon ha'achron. That this is the final test. These are the final tests before Mashiach comes. Ukeneged zeh tikiyeh ha'geula al yedei Mashiach ben David and Mashiach ben Yosef. And this is going to bring the Geula of Mashiach ben David and Mashiach ben Yosef. So Mashiach ben David, hu midas malchus. So Mashiach ben David, he's attached to the Sephira of Malchus, of kingship, of royalty. Shehu inyan Amuna. And this is related to the subject of Amuna. All right, so what does this mean? So Amuna is trust in Hashem. And he's going to see what Shalom will explain this a little more. But it means we trust that Hashem is the all-powerful, infinite being that created and runs the world. And there's nothing that can hold back the Geula. So when we have this Amunah, we understand the concept of Hashem Hu HaElokim Ein Od Milvadu, that every aspect that Hashem is acting towards the world, if he's acting in a manner of loving and kindness and rachamim and compassion and mercy, that's the aspect of Hashem, the holy name of Yud He Vav He. But also when Hashem's bringing din and judgment and war and sickness and destruction in the world, in the aspect of Elohim, it's all one infinite being. There's no separation. In Ein Od Milvado, there is nothing besides him. So there's no other power. And when we concentrate and we fully develop this idea of the Emunah, that there's nothing that can stand up to the power of Hashem, not even all the nations of the world can stand up to the power of Hashem, and that's one thing that will bring the Geula, and this is attached to Mashiach ben David. And then he goes on and he says, Mashiach ben Yosef hu midas yesod shezeku inyan hakadusha. And then he's saying that Mashiach ben Yosef, he's attached to the Sephira of Yesod, which is related to Kedusha. So what's that? So that means to have a life of holiness, of Kedusha. It means we must separate from the negative spiritual energy of Tuma. We must separate ourselves from all forms of arayos. So this is staying away, like from seeing, women, dressed immodestly. All this stuff is being pumped through the media, through the televisions, through the movies, through the internet, and we want to stay away from, all these physical temptations, and only then attach to the kedusha, where it's like physical, relationships are permitted, like between a husband and a wife. And then you have kedusha, and then you have the holiness of marriage, and then it's permitted, and then you can have the relationships, and it produces, holiness in the world. It can produce children, and it can bring shalom bias between the husband and the wife. And Mashiach ben Yosef is attached to those areas of kedusha. So these are the two main battles we have right now. We have the battle of building our emunah in Hashem, building our trust in Hashem, and then the battle of fighting against, the forces, the unpure, spiritual forces in the world, and keeping ourselves in a state of kedusha. And those two areas are what we need to focus on. And then Bezrat Hashem, we'll very quickly see the coming of Mashiach. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back again soon on Swing Good Torah.